Hello everyone, welcome to 8085 microprocessor lecture series. This is lecture number 10 and we'll start with the some definitions of machine cycles and what are the machine cycles and timings regarding 8085. The very first thing is the T state. What is the meaning of a T state? Now every microprocessor, it needs there is a clock running the microprocessor, so that clock has some frequency. Suppose if we assume that a microprocessor is running on a frequency of 1 megahertz, so we can calculate the T state for that particular frequency. So frequency is 1 megahertz, and 1 megahertz means 1 into 10 is to 6 hertz. Now the time period is equal to 1 upon frequency. So when we divide this time, that is frequency 10 is to 6, so it is plus 6, it becomes minus 6 when it goes into numerator. So this is 10 is to minus 6 seconds, which is equal to 1 microsecond. So if a processor is running on a frequency or on a clock of frequency 1 megahertz, then the T state is 1 microsecond. So more the frequency, less the T states, and more faster is the processor. So more the frequency, more the speed of the processor, less is the T state. Now next is the meaning of a machine cycle. Now, and every instruction, it consists of either one machine cycle or two or more. So let us study with an example. Suppose we have instruction MVIA 32H. So this instruction is stored in memory location 2000. So at 2000 we have MVI, the opcode of MVIA is 3E, and 32, because MVIA is a 2-byte instruction, we need two memory locations. First memory location to store the opcode for MVIA, and the second one, this is actually to that is the data that we stored. So how this task is executed, let us see here. This is the timing diagram. So as we see, the very first task is the opcode fetch. So the opcode, the operation code is actually 3E. MVIA is the opcode for MVIA is 3E. So the very first task of the microprocessor would be to fetch the code 3E from the location 2000. So 2000, you can see here, this 2000, it contains this 3E as the opcode. So how it fetches? When we start this, so at the very first T state, there are, you can see there are T1, T2, T3, there are 4 T states, and this, the first opcode fetch, is the, we can say this is the machine cycle. So this particular instructions MVIA 32H, it consists of two machine cycle. The first machine cycle is the opcode fetch machine cycle, and this consists of 4 T states. And the second part of the instruction is the memory read, and this machine cycle M2, it consists of 3 T states. So what happens in this case? The microprocessor, it places the entire address on the address bus, and simultaneously ALE signal goes high, which indicates that this bus is working as a address bus. Then after one T state, the opcode from the is read from the memory. So read signal goes low, which is enable low, and it remains low for 2 clock pulses. So by the till the end of the third T state, the opcode is fetched, and then this opcode fetch, the first machine cycle, it gets completed in 4 T states. So this is the first machine cycle. So I will just mark it. So here up to here we have the first machine cycle. Now in the second machine cycle, the data has to be read from the memory location. The memory location is 2001. Yes, we can see 2001. The previous was 2000. So the data has to be read from 2001. Okay, this is 32, has to be read from the memory 2001. So in the second machine cycle, which is the memory read machine cycle, in the first T state, the entire address is placed on the address bus, and ALE signal goes high to indicate this low order bus is acting as a address bus. And in the second T state, the read signal becomes low, indicating that it is a read signal. And of course here we can see the status signal, which indicates it is a memory related operation. The data 32 is copied Okay, now this, because ALE signal becomes low, so this is acting as a data bus and it gets completed within 3 T states. So here what we see is this opcode fetch plus memory read operation. It becomes one instruction cycle. This is one instruction cycle. So this instruction cycle, it consists of two machine cycles. Okay, one is opcode fetch machine cycle, other is memory read machine cycle. And opcode fetch cycle, it consists of 4 T state. So in our example, if we assume that each T state is of 1 microsecond, so we say this opcode fetch cycle, it takes 4 microsecond, or we say this machine cycle is of 4 microsecond. Then the second machine cycle, which is actually memory read machine cycle, it takes 3 T states, so it is 3 microsecond. The frequency, if the frequency changes, this data will change, and this entire one, both the machine cycles, they make up the instruction cycle. So this, from here to here, it is the instruction cycle, which is of 7 microsecond. So this is how we define the terms like machine cycle. So here our instruction consists of two machine cycles. Okay, one is opcode fetch machine cycle, other is memory read machine cycle, and we combine them, we get the instruction cycle. Now next we see the interfacing of input output devices. So we can have varieties of input output devices which are connected to the microprocessor. So we suppose if there is an input device, we need to read the input from that input device, and if there is an output device, we can also send the output from the microprocessor to the output device. So suppose if we have, this is the microprocessor, and we have some connected input output. So every input output, it has a port address. Suppose this is one of the output device which I am drawing with blue. So this is the output device, and suppose we have some input device here. Okay, this is the input device. Now this devices, they may have some address. So suppose microprocessor wants to send the output to this output device, so it will use the instruction out, and out with the port address. Every output device and every input device, it has some port address. So when this instruction out is executed, the data which is in the register A, the accumulator, it goes to the output device. Many times it happens that we want to read the input from some input device. So in that case, we use the instruction in and the port address of it input port. So when we give this, it goes from this input device and goes into the accumulator. So these are the two instructions, in and out, which we see. So this is actually how the input output, peripheral input output devices work. So out instructions is this is a 2-byte instruction. Here we have the port address. So this is a 2-byte instruction. It sends the contents of accumulator to the output port. Okay, suppose if we write like out 12H, so whatever data is in the register A accumulator, it goes to this port number 12H. So whatever device is at this port will receive the data from the microprocessor through the accumulator. And then we have this in. Then in is also a 2-byte instruction. It reads the data from the input port specified by the second byte and loads into the accumulator. So if we have like this, so if we have this in 13H, so the microprocessor will read the data from this input port into the accumulator. So this is how a peripheral input output system works. Now let us study the timing diagram of out instruction. So suppose we have the instruction out 01H. So we mean to say that we want to transfer we want to send the contents of register A to port 01. So this instruction is stored at 2050, but as out is a 2-byte instruction, the opcode for out is D3, and 01 is the port number which comes the second byte. So this is a 2-byte instruction. Now let us see how it gets executed with the machine, how many machine cycles are required and what are the T states. So as we see, the first byte the first byte is stored at location 2050. So this is the first machine cycle, this one from here up to here, this is the first machine cycle. So in the first machine cycle, what happens, the address 2050 is placed on the address bus, and ALE signal goes high. So this, we mean to say that this particular bus is acting as a address bus. Simultaneously the memory signal goes low, meaning that it is a memory read signal. Okay, and in the second peak state, the opcode has to be fetched, therefore this read signal also becomes low. Now combining these two signal, we get memory read signal. Okay, then this gets completed, okay, in 4 T states. Now the next machine cycle start. This completes the first machine cycle, which consists of 4 T states. Then we have the second machine cycle, which is the memory read. So here this is stored at 2051. So again ALE goes high, showing that this is acting as a address bus, and again this signal becomes low, and memory read also becomes low. Okay, so this particular port address is read, okay, by the microprocessor, because this 01 is the port address of that particular peripheral from data has to be read. So this consists of 3 T states, and the second machine cycle completes. Now this particular instructions is completed by third machine cycle, so it has 3 machine cycles. Now the data from that port has to be read into the accumulator. So the next machine cycle, this signal again becomes high, okay, and we have a memory read operation. So now this signal becomes, because this is actually this has to be read from the input output, okay, and this signal is a combination. When it is low, it is memory operation; when it is high, it is input output. So this high state, it shows that it is a input output read operation, and whatever data has to be written, so this becomes, you can see, this is write low, so this write signal is active low, so this becomes low because it has to be written out. Instructions writing out. So combining this and this, sorry, the upper one, this, we see that this is input output write operation. So the things, whatever the data is the accumulator, it gets written, or it is sent to the output port, which is 01. So this is how it gets completed. Now in peripheral input outputs, we have 2 types of decoding. One is absolute decoding, other is partial decoding. As seen in the previous slide, we saw that the port address is of 8 bits, 1 byte, that is 1 byte is 8 bits. So if all the 8 bits are used for decoding the address of a particular peripheral or input output, then it is called as absolute decoding. Now with 8 bits, we can make 2 raised to 8 combinations, which is 256. Okay. Now in many cases what it is done, that we will just require very few lines to decode the address of a peripheral. So some of the lines, they are connected to, they are treated as don't care conditions, because they won't contribute in finding the address of that particular peripheral. Like suppose in this case, if we use this particular address, like if we have this I mean, like this 8 bits. Now the last bits, okay, so if the last bit, if I write this like this 2, okay, so this all bits must be 0, and this 2, they can be treated as a don't care conditions. So whether they are 0, 1, anything, that particular device will be address, that is, that device will be actually decoded, and it will be selected. So this can have like 0, 1, 1, 0, or 1, 1. So in that case, a device, peripheral device, can have multiple addresses like 0, 0, 0, 1, okay, then 0, 2, and 0, 3. This 3, that particular device will be can be addressed by any of these 3 addresses. So we can have multiple addresses for that particular device. Okay, so this is the difference between. So here partial, in case of partial decoding, only few bits are required to decode the address of that particular device. Now as we have seen peripheral input output, we also have memory mapped input output. Now to execute memory mapped input, we have some instructions. The first one is LDA, 16-bit. So this is a 3-byte instruction. It copies the data byte from the memory location into register A. Let us see one example. Suppose if we write this LDA instruction, like if I write LDA 8040, this instruction, it copies the contents of the 8040 memory location. So whatever is stored at 8040 memory location, that is stored in register A. So whatever data byte, suppose if the data byte is 11 which is stored at location 8040, this data gets stored in register A. So this is a 3-byte instruction. Similarly, we have STA. STA is also a 3-byte instruction. It copies the data byte from A to that particular memory location. Like suppose if I write this STA 8040, and suppose if A contains suppose 13, so STA, this instruction copies the data from register A to memory location 8040. So this becomes 13. The data of 80 will become this location will become 13. Now let us check the timing diagram for this instruction STA. So this instruction is stored at location 2050. As this STA is a 3-byte instruction, we need 3 memory locations. So the opcode for STA, opcode is 32, and then the memory location is 8000. So 8000 is 00 will come here, the lower byte, and the higher byte 80, it comes in the next memory location. So this is a 3-byte instruction. Now let us see the timing diagram. So it consists of 4 machine cycles, and the first machine cycle consists of 4 T states because it is a opcode fetch machine cycle. So opcode is stored at this 2050. So this is actually this is the memory location, and this ALE signal becomes high. It is a memory operation, so this becomes low, and we have to read. Okay, so this read signal goes low in the second for remains low for the second and third T states. So this is the opcode. Okay, this opcode is read from this location. Then we have memory read operation. So we have 2051. So it has to read the memory location which is stored in 2050 and 2051. So this address 00 and 80 combined, it becomes 8000. So this 8000 is used in the fourth memory write this fourth machine cycle, which is actually memory write machine cycle. Okay, so in this case the data from the accumulator is written, stored in the memory location. So in the yes, you can see the final state, this is memory combined with write, and we get this memory write cycle. Okay, now finally we can make a comparison between the memory mapped input output and peripheral input output. As we see, the first characteristics is the device address. So memory map input, the device address is of 16 bits, while in peripheral it has 8 bits. Control signals, because it is memory read memory write, so we have this, and in case of input output write, all the signals are active low. Then the instructions available for memory mapped input output is STA, LDA. We will see these instructions in the coming lectures, LDAX, STAX. So this many number of instructions are available for memory related instructions, but in case of peripheral we only have in and out instruction. Now regarding the data transfer, so when we are dealing with memory mapped input output, the data transfer can be between any register in the input output, while for peripheral it can be only between input output and register A, not any other register. Then maximum number of input output, because we are using 16 bits, so we have here 2^16 combination, which is 64, around 64K. And in case of peripheral, it is because it is 8 bit, so we have 2^8, which is 256 input devices. Now regarding the execution speed, in case of memory mapped, because there are several instructions, so it may go from 7 T states to 13 T states, and here it is fixed of 10 T states. For memory mapped, the hardware requirements are more to decode the 16-bit address, but here less hardware is because the address is small. Now some of the features which are available in memory mapped input output is we can perform arithmetic logic operations. It can be directly performed, but here they are not available. So this is the comparison chart between the memory map input output and peripheral input output. So that's all for this particular session. Thanks for watching.